creepy?
So apparently, like, no one heard everything that we just said.
Okay.
Be the first time.
Yep, no, that was me. I'm Mr. Technical Difficulties tonight. Sorry, guys. We're having some audio-visual issues here, but I think that's hopefully the last of it. Anyway, I was saying, but no one, but these guys could hear it. Oh, thanks for the follow, Sea Urchin. That I've been playing the Call of Cthulhu computer game. It's super creepy. The game mechanics can be a little bit frustrating, but one of the things I like that's been a common complaint, but I actually like this, is that it's not a combat game. And you're one guy, and if you try to take on the mythos creatures with your bare hands, you die. So
yeah. And I made a bit of a straw man where I just said, like, oh, he's a war veteran. He should be able to fight things with his big heads. Not realizing that fucking a lot of people died in World War One.
So yeah, so that's what I've been up to for the last couple weeks. Matt, how's things with you?
Things have been pretty good with me. I started getting back into the first Dead Rising game, which is really good, but the survivors just piss me right off. And I've also been running some Delta Green with my friends in real life, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Phil, what's going on with you?
For the past couple of weeks, my gaming life has been Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's been come home from work, boot that up, get a few hours in on that. That can get frustrating as hell because it really sucks you in. Real time killer. It's just, one of those one more mission, and it's 2 a.m. So yeah, that one is definitely addictive game to get into.
That's like me with the new Deus Ex game.
I was talking in another Twitch channel earlier with another host who was also talking about Redemption, and he was saying, sometimes he just goes on and then just plays poker or dominoes for like 2 hours, and everyone was like, yeah, you should totally tell everyone you're gonna stream Redemption and then just sit and play dominoes for 2 hours.
Yeah, I've done it. It's
But that would be dishonest.
Oh, well, fucking...
Oh, no. In-game, you can actually find dominoes games and sit there and play dominoes in-game. It's insane.
So it's honest. It's just misleading.
Yeah.
Sean, what's going on in your world?
Like I was saying last time, was up for a promotion, and I managed to dodge the bullet, or as I said earlier, to be in more context for the game, I avoided going over the wall into no man's land. Thank goodness. Because after they told me, no, I hadn't got it within 30 minutes, I knew I was so glad that I was not the new manager. And I've just been informed that the manager's boss, the director, is also leaving. And then the director's boss, the vice president, has announced his retirement.
Jesus. Talk about dominoes right there.
Yeah.
Wait, so you don't want a promotion?
I do, but not necessarily for on this. The new person that is working it, he's so far now working about 16 hours, 7 days a week.
Ooh. That, oh.
Yeah, no, don't want it that bad.
So much for making the schedule.
Yeah.
Carl, what's been going on with you?
Also audio-visual problems. Geez. A lot of work. A lot of corporate retreat stuff. What else? Halloween was a thing. Basically every weekend up to Halloween was a thing. Let me see here. What day is it now?
It is Sunday. Sunday, Sunday.
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
And George, what's been going on in your world?
Oh,
Oops, sorry, lost a bit of that.
oh, sorry. Carl, do you have something to say?
No, I realized that when I'm using this key, hold space to unmute thing, if Zoom loses focus, then it stops, which is not what I would. So I guess I'm turning that off.
Oh, things have been pretty good. If you're a New England sports fan, the Red Sox just won the World Series. So that was positive. And other than that, kind of just same old, same old. The leaves are falling, temperature's dropping off. But
It dropped off in a hurry this week.
Yeah, it went from 90 to 60 to 40, just like a state trooper was hiding behind the bushes.
All right. So, who wants to give a summary of last session?
Well, I watched the stream.
Perfect.
All right. So, and I'm keeping notes.
Awesome.
Part of the reason I kept the stream because I got something after I said there. So we basically were all summoned to New York by our good friend Jackson Elias. Those that were out of town came in to meet him up on the 15th at 8 o'clock at his hotel room. We arrived, and upon hearing no response to our knock on his door, we entered surreptitiously. I picked a lock to find a bloody scene there with Jackson dead, his entrails ripped out, two men escaping on the fire escape already, a third exiting the room in the same fashion. Seamus and Alejandro, why can't I pronounce his name properly? Alejandro, thank you. I just need to hear it once. Both rushed out onto the fire escape. Brave, but stupid move, as it caused the fire escape to collapse. But it did, even though we could get injured, we managed to capture these three murderers.
It's Pulp Cthulhu. Who cares? It was not even half our health.
Yeah. We were informed, dealt nicely with the police, informed though that we stepped into it because apparently this is the 9th murder for a bunch of murders that are supposed to have been solved because there's a guy already on death row. We managed to get a lot of information off of some of the cultists and in his room. Next day, we conducted a ton of research into something. We believe that the symbol that was carved into Jackson's head, I believe, was the cult of the bloody tongue. Did I got that right?
Yep.
I think I have it written down. Yeah, I think probably.
Yep, that is correct.
Okay. Though to me, I looked at that symbol, I went out of context. Really reminds me of Batman's symbol for whatever reason. Considering the fact that in about 14 years, Bill Finger will help design the Batman look, makes you wonder what he was up into in his childhood. From that, we made a lot of different contacts over the phone, did research in the libraries. Alejandro and Martin went to Emerson Imports and got some information about a suspicious character in his juju house. And met up for dinner, exchanged information. The next morning, we did some research on the sister of Roger Carlyle, which relates to the Carlyle expedition that we believe Jackson had called us all to New York to investigate a failed expedition to Egypt that somehow they then went off to Kenya and got massacred there. And now I believe it's going to be time up for the funeral.
Indeed.
Now, I did have a couple points, if you don't mind, I wanted to raise. Most first, Jesse, did you keep in touch with Seamus?
Have I kept in touch with Seamus?
Yes.
Remember who Seamus is again?
My character, the
Oh,
engineer.
but you guys were all in New York, right?
No, I was in Toronto.
You were in Toronto. So I ended up starting in Texas. So probably not.
Okay. So I wouldn't have known that you're an author. Now.
You might have. I mean, you've all kept up with Jackson, so he probably mentioned it to you.
All right. Then I fully expect I have a full set of all your books autographed sitting on my shelves next to Jackson's as well.
As well as a freaking picture of you, apparently.
Now, this was the thing going through that I've realized. Does anybody else notice the Kenyan connection? Larkin was a Kenyan. Remember for him for our time in Peru? The Carlisle expedition massacre happened in Kenya. This cult, we got notes that it originated in Kenya.
So what is that, like an African-French connection?
Maybe. I don't know. I just noticing, there's it could be a coincidence. So just bringing that up.
It's just a big ruse, and for a heroin smuggling ring, we're going to find someone picking their feet in Poughkeepsie.
Well, it's just odd. I'm just, these. The other question is, so I'd ask Alejandro, are we really sure that Larkin's dead? Considering the fact that his buddy kept on coming back and back, maybe Alejandro could reach out back, make sure what the heck did they do with his body, and nothing untoward's happened to it again.
What do you mean by reach out back? Like contact people back home or something?
Yeah, basically. See if anybody can find out what happened to him. Not that I'm the suspicious sort, but that jackass kept coming after us.
Oh yeah, but my guy just got the hell out of Dodge as soon as that happened. So yeah. So he probably wouldn't have the ability to contact people.
Okay, just mentioning it there. And last thing is, at some point, I think we should re-talk to the lieutenant, and maybe even that reporter who wrote about Jackson, about the earlier murders, and see about that man on death row. That's all sort of the notes I took.
Lieutenant, what are you, Canadian? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm Canadian too.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're heading to the funeral. Let's kind of go around. Alejandro, how are you feeling about Jackson's passing?
Well, even though he's had a life of hardship back in Peru, death is not something that you get used to, especially the death of someone who was more a close acquaintance, not a friend, but someone he knew decently well. And that's never something anyone should get used to, in his opinion.
How's Alistair feeling about all this?
Well, we've been through a lot together.
Especially given that he completely lost his shit when he saw him dead.
Correct. Yeah,
it hit me very hard. Your sanity roll.
It hit me very hard at the time, and it's the first death that I've experienced of somebody so close and so unexpected and in such a gruesome way. So it's really affecting me.
If I may interrupt, I'm sorry, but there was something important that was missed in the in the recap, my guy got a critical one on Cthulhu Mythos. Like that's a
yes,
pretty
you did.
important thing. Sorry, not to toot my own horn, but critical one. Anyways,
You know stuff now.
yeah, I do. I had visions and shit, man, of the
The problem
bloody
is you
throne.
looked into the void, and now it looked back at you.
Yeah,
Ah, crap.
yeah. Looked into the void. It looks back at me. It thinks I look good in my pants.
It licked its fangs.
Yeah.
How is Seamus taking things?
Well, he's seen stuff in the war. It was really pretty brutal. So the violent nature of death hasn't phased him, but he takes it personally when his friends are killed, and he considered Jackson a good friend. He kept in touch, and he's mad and a little concerned too. That might not have anything to do with what happened in Peru, but it might still. And he's wondering if stuff's gonna happen to the rest of us. So he's gonna be wondering if we have the targets on our backs as well. But he's just a little pissed off.
How's Jesse handling it? You forget your PTT again.
Yeah, it's bad. So Jesse's bummed around in Mexico with kind of different levels of desperados and stuff. So I don't think death shocks him. I think his attitude is, every man's got his time, but it's a shitty way to go. And kind of like, I guess, Seamus, it's kind of like, well, next person to go like this could be him. So interested in sticking it out and finding out maybe what caused his death.
Alrighty. And how's Martin handling this? He also had a major fumble of his sanity roll, if I remember right.
Well, he's a soldier of fortune, so he's seen plenty of death. And the party knows the cult is responsible, and so we just need to even the scales a bit sooner or later.
Alrighty. Okay, so Jackson's funeral takes place at the Cypress Hills Cemetery in Brooklyn at 2 p.m. on Sunday, January 17th. The ceremony is brief and non-denominational, taking place during a light snow shower. Turnout is small, with the only mourners apart from you folks being two gentlemen. Some of you may have met before. Those of you who live in New York have probably met Jonah Kensington or Carlton Ramsey. Jonah was Jackson's publisher, and Carlton was Jonah's attorney. And Carlton's niece Willa Singh is there. The priest encourages you to share any special memories that you might have of Jackson and his exploits, if you have anything that you'd like to share.
Jesse thinks back to all the eldritch horrors and then figures the best maybe not to mention.
No more than what's already in the books.
Yeah, it's safe. Maybe a story about time he's in Toronto and I'm seeking to find a drink in a dry spot in the adventure we had.
I think
Good man, got us through some tough times. Looks like it's caught up to him.
I think Alejandro will basically just say, well, there was this one time, or there's a couple of times. The one time, I think all of us, we had to fight off a.
Okay, 32 times to be exact.
He can't count past 3. But he's just gonna say there was. Remember that one time we had to fight off a enraged, what was it, morphine or heroin or that? I don't know. I don't know drugs. We had to fight off a morphine addict, and we had to basically. He was stronger than he looked, and there was also that one time I had to use my shotgun for my self-defense, and it was in very small room, so my ears started ringing, and doctors say that's tinnitus.
Did you say it's the 17th?
It is the 17th. Sorry, that's a Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I
Nope,
found.
Saturday. Looking at my calendar wrong.
Okay.
I actually have one here to just keep track of you guys.
Same here.
Nice.
Okay. So, who of you has met Jonah and Carlton before?
I'm from New York, and as I was keeping in touch with Jackson, I have met the two of them.
Okay.
I probably met them as well, like when I was, going out for drinks with them.
Okay.
Don't think I've met him in person, just corresponded.
Okay. So the two men come over and shake hands with Alistair and Alejandro, and introduce themselves around. Oh, I'm sorry to finally meet you all under such grim circumstances. Joda Kensington extends an invitation to meet with him at Prospero House. He says that he has some papers that Jackson would have wanted you to have, and Carlton Ramsey says that there's going to be a reading of Jackson's will on Monday, and requests that you all attend. And gives you the address of his law firm.
Of course.
Jonah says that he's willing to see you guys at any point. The offices will be. He can open the offices up tomorrow if that's good for you, or whenever at your convenience.
I think tomorrow would be fine.
Sure.
Good.
What'd you say his last name was?
Jonah Kensington.
Is there a Mrs. Kensington?
Mrs. Kensington.
Bad Austin Powers. Yeah.
Dear God.
Yeah, they also have a daughter named Miss Kensington. God damn, that movie was funny.
Vanessa.
So, also kind of keeping her distance, a respectful distance during the ceremony, you see a reporter, and she comes over and introduces herself as Rebecca Schosenberg from the New York Times, and she asks if you'd be willing to entertain a couple of questions.
My English not too good, so I don't know how well I do.
I said, nice to meet you. What kind of questions?
I do enjoy your crossword puzzle.
She says, I understand that the circumstances of Jackson's death were very similar to another series of murders. I was wondering if you'd be willing to talk with me about some of the details.
If you would agree to maybe a quid pro quo.
Absolutely. So I've got all the information at my office. We can go there now, or I'd be willing to make myself available whenever.
Hmm.
Is there anybody else here that we would like? Is there a big crowd that we should speak to, or are
I
they going to be
forget
awake
it.
later on?
Here in the at the cemetery.
Yes.
No, it was quite literally just you, Carlton and Jonah, Carlton's niece, the priest, and a reporter that was standing off to the side.
Yeah. So either he didn't have very many friends, or he didn't want a lot of people to go to his funeral. Anyways,
Was there something else we were supposed to do today?
I think the only thing we discussed was doing that research on the sister of Roger Carlyle, Erica. But we did that in the morning, and then I think we were putting off figuring out how we were going to try and contact her.
So Rebecca
Right,
says,
we were going to speak with Attorney Gray at the law firm that was representing the Carlisle family.
He's a lawyer. Chances are he's not working Saturdays.
Right, Saturday or Sunday, so probably not until Monday.
Well, the other thing we could do is check out this Juju house. Is that I think that was the name.
yeah, that was the Juju house.
Is that Kenyan? Going back again, my Kenyan connections.
Yeah.
Let's just go to Kenya.
That was Nkwane said he made him very nervous. It's a strange shop full of strange objects.
Yeah. It's the Juju house on Ransom Court.
I vote we go talk to the reporter, then get some more information. Probably see about meeting up with the police afterwards and see if they've got any more information. We could probably trade them to say, "Oh, we identified that symbol."
Yeah.
And we have
don't
an
know
excellent means of saying it's like we have researchers here, Natural Museum.
Did we know anything more about the other murders aside from what we've read in the newspapers? I don't think we did.
That's the reason I say we talked to this reporter. Because probably she's got some stuff that she's been asked not to put into the papers, or they haven't let her run. More so her like editor and things like that.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
so you're gonna head on over to the New York Times.
Well, she's here right with us, right?
Yeah, and she's willing to take you over to her office now. If
Is
you'd
there a
like.
reason why we need to go to her office?
She says she has all the necessary articles pulled out, and probably a much more comfortable place to sit than standing here in the snow
In a graveyard.
in a graveyard.
Yeah.
I would say we could walk and talk. I mean, we don't know that much about what's happened to the other folks that were found dead, but I guess if you think we could be useful.
Yeah.
All right, so you make your way over to the New York Times building on West 43rd Street. It's their, fairly newly expanded office at this point in time. Miss Schoenberg seems pretty delighted that you took her up on the offer, and is pretty relieved. So when you get upstairs, she offers you, coffee and brings you back to the office, and she's got all of the relevant clippings about Hilton Adams, who is the guy who's in jail right now, and the murders that he's supposedly committed in a scrapbook. Um, Reports concerning the first two bodies make no definite link between them besides the strange symbol carved into the victim's forehead. But by the third murder, connections were being drawn, although the police seemed baffled by the deaths, especially as no ties could be found between the victims other than their visits to Harlem, hardly noteworthy given how popular the area is after dark. Schoenberg tells you that she suspects that, initially at least, the fact that the first bodies were found in different police precincts meant that there was little coordination or sharing of information between the various investigations. And then everything eventually got transferred to Captain Robson of the 14th Precinct in Harlem. But even after that, there wasn't all that much progress on the case until Hilton Adams was arrested at the scene of the 8th murder. As far as she can tell, Captain Robson ended up heading the investigation due to the fact that most of the later corpses turned up in either Harlem or on its fringes. And this was bolstered by Dr. Lemming's pronouncements that an African death cult was involved.
Hilton Adams. That doesn't sound very African death culty.
She kind of sighs at that and says, she's not been able to find any concrete evidence, but she believes that Robson is at best incompetent and at worst corrupt, or may have been responsible for framing Hilton Adams.
So, your opinion is that Hilton Adams is an innocent man.
She says, "Yes, that's. I definitely believe that."
Are you sure? Any chance he could be just guilty of the one murder, perhaps?
So I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. I've interviewed a lot of murderers. This is a town for that. But I've spent time with Hilton at Sing Sing, and I can't believe that he's done this. If you would be interested in trying to help, I could introduce you to Millie Adams, Hilton's wife. She might be able to convince Hilton to see you at Sing Sing. At this point, Hilton's execution is coming closer and closer, and we're looking for anything that we can find that might lead to a stay of execution.
When is he scheduled?
There hasn't been a hard date, but he's out of appeals at this point, so it could be any time.
2 questions. 1, what's your connection to Hilton Adams? Why do you think he's innocent? Why do you want to prove he's innocent?
I ended up catching most of the murders and to write about them, and so I've been investigating this for quite some time, and I've spent a lot of time with both Hilton and Millie. I covered the trial. I really believe that they've got the wrong guy.
Yeah, and you were with him at Sing Song, right?
I've visited him at Sing Sing, the prison.
Why it called Sing Sing? A stupid name.
Second question, what does Lieutenant Poole think about this?
It's not his it's up until your friend was murdered. None of the murders have happened in his precinct, so he hasn't had a whole lot of involvement.
Have you tried getting in to speak to the three we captured out of curiosity, or their lawyers? Do they have any?
It's still, early days here, but they haven't let me question them.
Any other leads from the rest of the murder squad? I just love the idea of murder squad still.
No, there were no hard leads.
Greg Trebin, Murder Squad.
Well, it's well,
Oh yeah.
we could share something we found that I don't know how much you want to go forward with this yet, and I would advise caution. But the symbol that was found carved into our friend, you can pretty much say it's been on every other victim as well.
Yes. Yes, we asked Dr. Mordecai Lemming about this, and he's the one that said that it was from some African death cult.
Cult of the Bloody Tongue. That's the name we've got for it. Kenyan in origin, possibly.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think that tracks with what Dr. Lemming said. Yeah, that's what I have in my file here.
You ever hear of a fella named Silas Nakwani?
Yes, he runs an African import shop down in Harlem.
Nothing unusual there.
Haven't been able to find anything unusual, no. Whoa, thank you very much for the raid, folks.
Ooh. Why, is a raid good here?
Yes, yeah, 27
Okay.
folks coming over from another channel. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for the raid, guys.
What are these like things with like the hand goes, the thumb is up like that? Is that good?
All right, so what else can Miss Schosenberg tell you?
Now, the detective that got control of this case. So, so honest opinion time. Corrupt, incompetent, just under extreme pressure to close these cases, or a combination of all of them?
She says, myself, I think corruption. It seems all too neat and tidy that that suddenly he tied things up and just happened to be there when even if Hilton did do it, just happened to be there to catch him, and then ramrodded the trial, and now more murders are taking place.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to chalk that up to copycat or something like that. This has been a well-publicized murder spree. But with the death cult connection, if there's anything that has been kept out of the papers that we can show as the connection, that may help Mr. Adams.
She says, I think that that you should talk to Hilton's wife. She's got some details that that she'd be willing to share with you that I haven't written about, but I'd want you to hear it from her.
Do you have any questions or anything that we could assist you with?
She says, I know I knew of Jackson only from reputation. What do you think would be a reason for him dying? What do you think made him a target?
Uh, he found out something that he was not supposed to.
Let's put it this way: we're all very good friends, Jackson Elias, because of what we went through together in Peru. He wrote about that in one of his books. That would have been the
Hungry
Death. Yeah.
Yes.
To be perfectly honest with you, he cut a lot of that stuff out because nobody would ever believe what really went on. You just got a fraction of that, and that was something he did. We stumbled into it. We thought we were going on a simple
Excavation.
excavation, and wandered into something extremely strange and deadly, cults. And given these murders around here, it's something, as I've said to Lieutenant Poole, you're very much up his alley. Something that would pique his interest if he saw something, a cult operating basically in his backyard. He would be very interested. And he had also called us because he found something about, maybe your records might have a little more, but we have on something called the Carlisle expedition.
She says, I seem to remember something about that. I mean, we all knew Roger Carlyle. He took a bunch of folks off to, was Egypt, wasn't it? And
Right.
then, but that couldn't have been the whole story, because I remember that he passed away in Northern Africa somewhere. Kenya?
Kenya, yes.
Yes.
Matter of fact, that's exactly, basically what got us here is we got a communication that have information concerning Carlisle expedition, and he needed a reliable investigation team. Called us all together. And usually, I don't, he's, for the most part, he works small, by himself or teams. I mean, the last time he needed a whole bunch of us was when we, accidentally got together in Peru. So he must have stumbled on something big.
Interesting.
We're also looking for a book. It goes by the name of Africa's Dark Sects by Nigel Blackwell. Looks like it's a self-published book. Seems to disappear every time we are looking for it. I wouldn't suppose you had any access to that manual.
So I don't, but I'll certainly take the name down and see if anyone on staff might know anything about it.
That would be appreciated.
Just hold on one moment. Let me pull some files on. And she goes out for a moment and comes back with some clippings from the society section and some files. And she says, it seems that the best way for you to get in touch with Ms. Carlyle would be through Bradley Gray, her personal attorney. I can give you all his contact information if you need it. But he seems to be the most he's the gatekeeper. Probably the best way for me to put it. You might be able to find her out at a high society gala, but more than likely, if you want a conversation with her, I'd recommend going through Mr. Gray. And she jots down his contact information and hands it over to you.
Thank you very much. That's kind of what we've heard before as well, that he's kind of the gatekeeper for her, but that we appreciate the information.
She says her estates are out in Westchester. It's actually not that far from Sing Sing Prison if you do end up going out there. You could probably plan to do both over a couple days and save yourself some travel.
That's
So she says, let me get in touch with Millie and see when she'd be willing to meet with you, and I'll leave a message with your at your hotel, or what's the best way for me to get in touch with you?
You can reach my office at the museum. They can take a message there and get that to me.
Excellent.
I'm at the Museum of Natural History.
Okay, excellent. Yes, I'll be in touch as soon as I can set this up.
Going back, who is the? You said the medical examiner that had come up with the fact there was an African death cult.
So he's not a medical examiner. He's a professor at one of the universities, and he said that they asked him about the weird the weird symbol, and he's the one that came up with it.
Do you know his contact information by any chance?
Let me see what I can find for you. Yes, yes. Here it is. Yes, Dr. Mordecai Lemming. Sorry, guys. This is running slow. Yes, so he has residence at the Murray Hill Hotel. And if you just speak with the doorman there, he should be able to let you in. Apparently, he's a little bit eccentric, but he should be able to meet with you. Anything else that I can help you with?
I think that's all I have.
Yeah, we're good to go for now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and I'll be in touch as to when we can you can sit down and meet with Millie.
Please.
Okay.
All right, so I think we go get together somewhere and come up with our next step.
Mm-hmm.
How late would you say it is?
It's probably about 7 o'clock by now.
So, dinner, gentlemen.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, we can come up with our plans for the next day.
Well,
Let's see.
tomorrow's Sunday, and Seamus is not missing an opportunity to take in St. Patrick's Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral, being an Irish, Canadian Roman Catholic boy. But after that.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, it hasn't been sullied by Opie and Anthony yet.
I do think somebody tried to burn it down a couple years back. Like can't remember.
So we have, let's see if I got all this right here. We have a reading of the will for Jackson Elias
That's on Monday.
on Monday.
We're going to meet with the publisher tomorrow.
We meet with the publisher. There's Millie Adams.
We haven't got an appointment set up with her yet.
And Bradley Gray.
Which probably Monday is when we can contact him too. Being a lawyer, I doubt he'll be on the weekend. But we could talk to see about whether or not reach out to Lieutenant Poole. See if he's got any more details. And we could take a trip out and look up that Juju house. Harlem.
My job.
African. Sorry?
I was gonna say this game is like my job. This is what I do. I like schedule meetings with people and I talk. No, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of what my job.
Nope, completely booked. Can I? So other games you have inventory management, maybe gold. This one you have kind of like calendar and appointments.
Maybe we need a scrum master to put the scrum board together for us.
Juju house?
Yeah, I'd say we do take the Juju house.
Okay, we might.
Doing that late night expedition into the Juju house on Saturday night?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Little clandestine poking around, or
Party don't stop.
What
Start
could
the-
possibly go wrong?
Everything. It's Pulp Cthulhu, baby.
at a place called Juju House.
Yeah, there might be some juju magic.
Okay, so we'll hit up the Juju house tonight. Tomorrow, do the publisher, and then maybe see if we can't at least find out if we can talk to Lieutenant Poole or when his schedule is. Or also figure out what we're doing after the horrors of whatever the Juju house has to offer. The warehouse of just stuff we have to inventorize.
Creepy African masks and voodoo dolls and all kinds of cool African juju.
Mass, of course. What's the name of the campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So
Yeah, there's never any possessions or hauntings or Jim Carrey-like possessions from the.
Yeah. Although this has nothing to do with the Juju house, but when we go meet Lieutenant Poole, I just hope he might be a bit corrupt, but I just hope he doesn't go over the deep end. Lieutenant Poole, deep end.
Who seemed to be honest that I bonded with.
God damn it! No one got my pun.
I
we were just ignoring it and hoping it would go away.
It's not going to go away. If I make a pun, it's going to stay there.
It did not go swimmingly.
God damn it.
Damn it, it's only 9:08.
Anyways.
Okay,
All right, so 8, 9 o'clock off to the Juju house. Okay.
So, I will interject that you know that you met with Lieutenant Poole this time yesterday, or no, 2 days ago.
Mhm.
So we do know that this is typically the time he's working. He's in the kind of later night.
So we want a chance at pool first or Juju house?
Juju house.
I'm thinking if we're going into the Juju house, we might want to do later. There might be less people around.
So even later, yeah. By the way, does anybody know where?
Or
it's
they might
located?
be doing their rituals at midnight too.
Yeah. 2 points. So we know where the Juju house is, right?
You got an address from.
I'm asking the New Yorkers, what's in that area? Is that like where the Harlem nightclubs are? Or is it mostly a retail?
The Harlem
Residential?
Globetrotters. Sorry.
Midtown, downtown.
Hold
Hey,
on one
don't diss
second.
them.
I've
They're
got
great.
a. I didn't expect you to get to the Juju house tonight, so let me just
come on.
look
do
at the
that a
map
lot.
really quick, and so that I can answer this for you.
It's the creepiest thing we've come across. Of course, we're going to go there first.
Of course, man.
I know,
It's actually a little
stupid me.
creepier.
I should have figured that out. Where the hell is it?
Oh, this is interesting. This is the pre-Central Park, Manhattan.
Is it not in? I thought that was in Harlem. Is that in Manhattan?
I don't see it on the key.
No, it's not on your key. Alright, so it's got to be up here in Harlem somewhere. Where is...
All right, guys.
So it is on Ransom Court, which is off of 130 West 137th and Lenox Avenue.
Guys, I hate to interrupt, but I gotta spread some, ice salt around because apparently my steps are just sheets of ice. So I'll be back in a moment, but
Thanks.
just go on without me, my man.
I mean, we could take our... we're like 10 minutes away from when we usually take our break. Do you want to just take our break now?
Sure, why not?
Okay. We will be
Nice.
We will be back in 10 minutes, everybody. Thank you for all the watching and subscribing and all of that, and we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Tell us where Juju house is.
I will find that during the break.
On the
Of
audio.
course.